Alright, I'm gonna fix this hood today. The main thing is I have to extend it about, I don't know, 6-8 inches. Now, because you can see it's wider here than it is here, I can't use a square piece. So I gotta sort of make a trapezoidal pattern so when it's bent, everything will match. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut off a piece out of my steel that's about the right length. Then I have to make a paper pattern that fits this cowl and everything, and then I got to cut that out of steel. I could guess and cut it out of steel and then do a lot of time trimming, but so I gotta find me a piece of paper that's big enough to go around that. I don't think I got any, or thin cardboard, but I gotta make some kind of pattern. So that's the first thing I'm gonna do, is try to get me a pattern laid out. I didn't have much luck finding paper or found some cardboard, but it won't bend, it's too thick. So what I did, I picked the start of the curve here. We got the halfway through it, and where the curve ends, I marked these places here. And I took this piece of cardboard and I marked this. This is the shape that I need to make, and I picked these 3 holes here for the start of the bend, the middle of the bend, and the end of the bend. So that's what I got up here. I got start, halfway, and the end. So I'm going to cut this piece of cardboard out, and I need to bend this piece of flat metal to fit this cardboard curve. So let me cut the curve out and I'll show you how I'm going to bend this metal. I think I'm just going to use that round pipe right there in front. Alright, I just got a piece of pipe here. This smells good. And I'm just putting a little pressure on it. And moving it a little. I'm trying not to put any sharp bends in it, because I don't want to kink it. Alright, I've got sort of a bend in it. I put my template on it. Looks pretty good right there. See that, but might need a little more right here in the top. Notice I'm not hitting it with anything. That's pretty close. So now I got this this curve in it, and this tape up here and lay it on top of the car. And we'll let you see what I accomplished. That's pretty close. I didn't put a whole lot into it, and I didn't really kink it in here. I did a little. Of course, if you have a big block of wood or something that's the right radius, you can go ahead and use a rubber hammer and just beat it around that, which I'll probably eventually will do. But that's all you do, is just take the metal and just kind of hand bend it around. Try not to get any sharp bends in it, because I did get a little bit of kinks in here, but I still have quite a ways to go. Let me get the other side bended up, and then I'll show you how I'll mark this and cut it. Well, we got a couple ways that we could do this. One is try to clamp this this metal patch here under here to the cowl and mark it. You know, we could mark it here and there, trim it here. I don't have it perfectly straight, but I got the two round corners. Problem is that it's really not going to have enough to come all the way here. I can move this forward and make it fit, but you can see how much I'd have to be cut off of this back here. You know, 2 inches, and a triangle all the way to the front, and you can tell it's pointed down. So it don't look like that plan's gonna work, so I'm gonna lay this on top of it, because this hood's now probably an inch high. So I'm gonna try to move this sheet metal around, and we're gonna put it on top of the hood and see what that looks like. All right, that's much better looking. Up the my sheet metal is laying on the cowl pretty good. I marked the center line there. I don't know how close I got it. Pretty close. But I can probably get this line across the top there about, you know, a foot or so on each side straight. This bend I put in here is kind of not in the right place, and it's lined up here with everything. So I think we're pretty much good to go. I'm going to try to use this straight edge here. I'm going to pull this metal here all the way up into there. So this is flush. I'm going to drill a couple holes here in the center, or at least one. I've got 2 bolt holes there. I think I'll punch 1 hole right in the center there. I've got enough metal. Put a bolt in it and bolt that down, and that'll not only fix this where it's fitting here. You can see as I push it down, it pulls it away from the middle. So that's what I got to do. I'm going to mount this in the center, and I'll recheck everything, make sure it is the center. I'm down to my 2nd hole here, so that's going to be good enough. And then we're going to, once I get it centered, I'll figure out how much of this triangle here I need to cut off. We'll cut it off on both sides. Right now it's theoretically, once I get that bolt in there, it'll be perfectly flat right there in the middle and be pointed horizontal instead of going down. So when I cut these pieces off, it's gonna pull it down. Anyway, I'll see if I can set you up and we'll get that started. Well, first thing I'm going to do is push this flush, and I'm using a good DeWalt drill to go through this stuff. See, one of the benefits of not having a tripod, get it right in the middle. Get it right in the middle here. Let's see what I have on my cowl. Looks like there's a weld right exactly in the middle. So here I can knock that down. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to knock that down so that weld's not making my drill go off to the side. Well, trying to get this showing you a little more of what needs to be done, the actual work. So I haven't got a tripod or anything set up, so I'll just kind of do this best I can. Ground that all down pretty smooth. Hopefully the drill bit will start in the middle now. We'll see what we can do about it. put my metal back up on there to line it up. Ah. That ain't gonna work. But anyway, I got that hole started. I'll go ahead and drill it out. Alright, bolt went in. I'm only like a 16th off the center. And you can see it's pretty straight across here. So unfortunately that hole is behind the firewall. So I gotta get inside the car, crawl up in there and put a nut on that bolt and tighten it up. Alright, I got that bolted down. Probably should have used some washers in it. And put the hood on top here and put a little weight on it to push it down. Looks like it's starting to depart from there. And if I pull this in, it's gonna have to be cut right in here somewhere. So I got to take a pretty good triangle off of there. And the other side should be, exactly the same. And it is. Looks like cut from here to down here somewhere, 3/4 of an inch. So it's going to do that just simply because I've got this at the angle of the hood. I don't know what the formula here is for to find the size of this triangle. Half base squared or something, but that'll give me, whatever distance this is about 12 inches, and it's got a, not sure. So I think I need to, at this point, figure out where am I going to bolt this stuff. And I think I need the first bolt probably right in here, right where it starts departing the firewall. So it'll go down flat, put a bolt there, and kind of hesitate to put any more bolts in it from there. Something don't look right. I've got 2 inches over here, and no, that's about right. Got about 1.5 inches, 2 inches over here, so I guess it's okay. Center line looks like they're lining up pretty good. Just barely gonna make it right here. Well, I guess I can I guess that ought to be the first order of business. Put a couple more bolts in this firewall, or bolting it to the firewall, because it's still kind of moving around a little, and get where that straight edge is gonna work cinched down. and then I'll worry about trying to cut these corners off here. Alright, I got those in. That one there, I had to move it over an inch because it went right in the middle of that cowl brace that goes up here to the dashboard. Luckily I missed it on this one. But metal's good and solid now. It's not moving, so I can go ahead and kind of start tweaking this. Notice when I push it in, it wants to move back. So I'll take a piece of tape or paper or something, lay on here, try to get me a straight cut, and I'll cut that off until I get it laid down good, so I can put one more bolt in it right where this curve starts here. I'll look under there. That's up, and no, I'm way past the brake cylinder, so I should be good to go there. I need one right here before this real sharp curve starts, and another one down here to where it's flat. Get this all pulled in. If I had a big long 1.5 foot long clamp, I could get in there, but I don't. I may tack weld it in, but first thing to do is to cut this, mark this piece and cut it off. Right, I don't know what you could learn out of this, but it is more of me doing the work. Get my tool over here. I just took a piece of paper and laid on here, marked myself a nice straight line, and I'm just going to cut it up. Got a couple places that didn't make it. Now I got a nice sliver cut out of here. And it looks like it's matching pretty good. This is kind of high up in here. I'll get whatever I've got that's the longest and try to clamp it. Ooh, it's still hot. And if I push this down like it wants to bend, I've got quite a bit more overlap here, but if I push it in straight, see, we'll get that in there. I'll have a little bit of gap, so I'm gonna try to push this in with one hand and hammer it into the cowl with another. I have a feeling I need to cut a little more off of this though. Main thing is I'm going to get it right here at the start of this bend, and I'll just mark out 8 inches from this bolt or whatever. Looks like about 6 inches. And that's maybe 5. 5 looks like it's kind of still on the straight part. So I'll put a bolt in here at 5 inches and 1 inch off the cowl, and we'll bolt that down, and then we'll go from there. Well, I've got just a little here. It's not going in. If I bend it straight down, you see it's pulling in the middle here. If I try to pull it out and twist it, it's pulling this up a little. So I'm just gonna go about halfway there. Notice I've got a Speedway catalog. Probably make the cuts go faster. I'm just lining this up to where it looks like it'll fit. That looks pretty straight. And I'll just cut that off with Mr. Cutoff tool. Shouldn't be too hard. Kind of hot. Mr. Pliers. Yeah, that'll be fine. Need to do a little hammering on it to get rid of these bends. Still don't know whether I ought to take it down like that or push it in with this part. I think I'll cut just a little more of this off. Right, that corner, yeah, that fits much better. All right. If I was welding, I would tack it there and then hammer this down. But since I'm bolting it, I want to get the bolt kind of in the middle of this depression here. And might have to put some washers or something in there to space this out, but sure wish there was some way I could clamp it, but there really isn't. I could take everything all off and hammer a little more around into there. I think that what I'm going to do is just hold it in here and take my hammer and just smack it along in here and try to get this bent a little bit. But you can see the triangle came this way, and then I had to take another one off, and then the last bit for the corner. Yeah, if I knew what I was doing, I maybe could have cut it in one cut, but basically that's how you're going to make something, is take your time, do it a little bit at a time. When I get the other side all done, and then I have to cut this. We'll see what happens with that. And then got to grind all the rough edges off and smooth it, paint it, and put it back on. So I'm a long ways from that. Right now I'm just going to try to figure out how to get this corner down and hold it in. Well, that's the way I solved that. I just pushed this in with a pusher tool, tacked it. It's obviously pointed way out here. It just needs to be gone in. But I'll put a bolt in it right there. That should pull that in. I don't know what's going to happen with the with this curve here. I may have to, I don't know, I may have to curve it or something. Maybe this will be good, but I can change this curve by, you know, putting a dolly behind it, hammer it out, or hammer it in. The main thing I was trying to get is this whole back part straight here, and this might take a couple cuts, because this was a flat piece of metal. It didn't have a roller or a shrinker or anything, so I may have to put a couple slots in it to squish this front down just a hair. Don't know, but for now I'll get this bottom piece with a bolt in it and see what it looks like. Well, after tacking this down, I was able to drill a hole. I stayed away from this hole behind it. I went below it. I thought I'd probably just curve this piece right here. I can see that it's got a little low spot here, a little high here, but basically it looks real good. A lot better than if I would have tried to weld a bunch of little pieces in it. So there's one side done. And looks pretty good. Now I have to go over to the other side and basically do the same thing. Well, there we go. Trapezoidal curve done. I cut my little triangle out there a little too much, but it's kind of clamped into the back here. I've got a nice smooth shape that's following the cowl. Bolts are all spaced out, look pretty good. This is good. Got the hood centered up. I put that big jack on it for weight. I'm kind of okay up here. I probably ought to recut this hood. I don't really like the way that looks. I'll make a good straight cut across there, and it's not all that great. I'll get this lined up good. Try to find the center best I can, but basically it's looks pretty good. Got the right form and shape. Looks real nice here where it joins. Up here it'll just be some welding. Shouldn't be much trouble at all to do that. I'll probably have to mark it from this side. I'll cut these plates off of here to start with, and can't really put it on the bottom and mark it because it's got that big hump in it. But I think I'll make sure to get a center line here, and all of this front is dead square, and get it lined up good, because like I say, this front part kind of dictates where all the rest of this goes. I got a little extra down here. I'll have to see what I'm going to do with that, but it would look pretty nice probably if I could somehow continue this round part above this bolt. I could do it here, and I can do it here too. Yeah, this should match this part up here, and that's probably the way it was originally planned. I don't know. Maybe when I get it done I can do something out of Bondo there. Fill this up, bring it out here. Anyway, that's a deal for another day. I'm not gonna change my whole game plan because of a little bit of a body line. I think we're good enough to start cutting up this old hood and get it all welded into one piece. Well, I cut these little wings off of here, and I remarked everything for center, and I've got everything lined up pretty close on everything. And I don't know if you can see back there, but I've got a square set up in through the back window, and the center of that square is the center line. If I look through this, down this line I drew through the center of the hood, I'm off maybe an inch in the back. But the hood is centered. So what's happening here, this hole, this needs to be opened up a little. You can see that it's not really square with the grill shell. I'm going to check this grill shell again and make sure it's square with the cowl. I did a little bit of adjusting and tweaking here. I got me a line that's in the center of this, I don't know what you call it, accent stripe. And I marked the cowl in the center, got it as straight as I can. The line don't really line up. It's off like maybe 1/4 of an inch. I had to cut some off this front of this cowl here, not a lot, you know, 1/16 of an inch or something, to get it to where it would fit. This side of the cowl opened up. I got probably 1/2 inch here. I'll need to make some kind of a piece for that probably. And of course this hole here is no longer fitting right. I'll have to take like 1/4 of an inch off of this in here, cut another triangle out. But the main thing is that back part is pretty centered, so that's where I want it to go. So I marked me a mark here and a one on the other side, so I can put this back in the same place. Next thing, I want to pull this off of here and do whatever I got to do to clean this this edge up, so I can get a decent mark on this part, and try to get it as straight as I can, and then I'll clamp it back on and cut it, and then it'll just be a matter of welding it up. You know, it's not perfectly straight. You can see there by the lines, but it'll match this end down here good, and I'll make it fit that end up there. But the main thing is I've got it pretty much square. Once I weld these two plates together, weld the hood to the plate, then I'll have to tweak it. So let me take that off of here and get it straightened up. Well, there was kind of a mess of welding and some other stuff back in here, and this plate has got to be, oh, I don't know, you can kind of see there, maybe 1/4 of an inch higher than the this bottom plate that goes flush with the cowl. That's the hump that's raised up, and they kind of did it and then filled it with Bondo. So I'm going to put another plate in here. Probably need to be a little thicker than that. I might have some thick enough to make it fit. This stuff's the same. No matter what I do, I have to build that up. My idea is, or the goal is, to get these two yellow pieces straight across here like this, and not so much worried about that one, because that's on the outside and it'll be filled with Bondo, which is what it is right now. So looks like it might be 2 pieces of plate might sort it out. Probably will. I can put 1 piece in and tack it on the ends. I think the first thing I need to do though is get this flipped over and get rid of all that Bondo right there, so I can at least get it pounded straight. I'll just take my flapper disc here. Doesn't have to be perfect, of course, just needs to kind of get it where I can beat it flat. And of course, Bondo dust everywhere. By the way, these are real handy. It's a blower. Little shop, you try to keep your shop clean. Not the best in the world blowing it out into the driveway. But it does help. Anyway, I'll try to beat that straight now, and because it's letting it bend. Whoa, stronger foot than I thought. But I'll put a couple pieces of plate in there and a bunch of rust converter. I should be able to weld that up pretty good now. We'll give that a go and see how it goes. Well, I cut a piece of 1/8 inch steel that fits in there, and I put just a little bit of bend in it. It looks like it's about the same height there, and I'm going to weld it here to the hood. I'll just weld it down through here, try to keep my beads low, and then I'll grind them off so I have a flush part here, and then I'll put a piece of sheet metal on top of it here, side to side, so I have a straight edge in here that I can weld to that hood panel up there. That looks pretty good from here. Anyway, I'll fire up Mr. Welder and do this. Alright, I cut me a plate to fit this hole that's in here. And it's a little thicker. Of course, it's 18 gauge. This stuff is probably 20 or 22. And I put a plate on it to squish it in good. The only part I really care about is this edge. All this under here is going to be under that hump. So I'm just going to weld this in here now. A bunch of little tacks. I don't really want to burn it through. And then this edge here is what my cowl piece is going to weld to. Light here to see better to the camera than I can in real life. Let's see, maybe I'll have enough. Yeah, there we go. You can see. See what's going on with the camera. I just did a bunch of little tacks in there. Don't look very good from here. I'll try to patch up these back ones here. Can't really see what's going on, so. A little better. That's welded up. Didn't burn through anywhere. And I'm sure that clamp was holding my edge. Now I'm going to move the clamp down to the bottom. Do the same thing across the bottom. If you notice, I've got this set up where it's putting pressure on the to squish it down. I may put a little more on it when I tack this last piece in here. Well, I'm going to try to set you up over here. This welder. I don't know if that's showing you anything. Hold this with one hand and tack it with the other. Down. much tacked up. Looks like I got one hole in it. Put like 1/4-inch beads on that. That should be good enough to hold it. Now I'll try to put a little up this vertical. Got my heat way high on my welder. I've got it tacked in good and welded in the corners. So we'll hope you can see something. There's our welded up result. You can see not very good. I couldn't really see in there. I was more or less blind. But it's welded in solid. And so now I can grind this off a little, take a wire brush to it, clean it up. And I can finish up places like this edge here and here. This all is going to get kind of cut off to a square edge that I can I can trace onto that thing. I'm gonna these fumes off this stuff with that rust converter on it's pretty heavy. Smoking don't help either. Anyway, I'm gonna turn my heat down and clean this up, patch up anything that I might have, and maybe weld it a little better here in these corners. It's actually not that bad. Once it's ground off, it'll look pretty good. Alright, there it is, ground down. I didn't take all the weld off. One thing, you can't see it, and the other thing, I wanted to leave some strength in it. But that's good enough. Looks like my Bondo here started coming off, which is good. But now I can put a straight edge across here, get this cut off. It's starting to get hot out here, so I think I'll go in and have a little lunch. Well, there she is. All welded up, ground down. Looks like I got a little angle in it right there where the other piece was welded. Same thing over here. I'll have to knock that out. But looks good. I didn't grind all of my weld off because it's I don't want to take the strength out of it. I didn't mess with this in here because I'm going to build another plate, cover up all that. I'll have to probably cut this and redo it. I'll try to knock it out first. I got a little room there. But all in all, it's in. Got the same taper. You can see there that it's pretty close. anything I can hammer out a little. This is real close to the center, close enough. I can move that around a little. So there's Mr. Hood is pretty much done. Yeah, that one big piece there. Yeah, that was the way to go. Now it would have really been a mess trying to do it with several pieces. At least I got one plane that I can kind of go to. But hood's good, and I kept it on my center line marks as much as I could. So I think we're good to go here. Well, here's kind of the end of that. I still have a little bit of weld patching and grinding to do, but I sanded this off good with the DA to get all that rust off of it, and I put that rust converter on it, let it dry good, and I just rough brush coated it here. A lot of brush strokes in it, of course, and having it mixed up in a pot 2 or 3 days is not doing it any good as far as lumps and stuff, and using the same brush too. But you can see I got 4 or 5 little dents in there I got to knock out. I didn't get up here onto this part. I want to get this all kind of finished and straightened out. I just wanted to get this blue paint on here, and it's going to act kind of as a primer, and just see what the color looks like. It's not bad. I mean, you can see kind of how glossy and nice it is. The camera's picking up that part real good. But I think the whole car painted like this, it's going to look real good. Still not the blue I wanted, but it's close.